Welcome, welcome. I am Serena, a chartered public relations practitioner, as well as a systems thinker practitioner, and I consult on strategic matters for entities of all sorts. And this tutorial is a live tutorial, is for any brand, business, creator, entrepreneur who has to manage a crisis because let's face it, we all sometimes from time to time have to manage a crisis that affects our business, our brand. You could even be a social media creator, somebody who has an audience. And so if you have an audience, then you know you have to manage your reputation, you have to manage expectations. If something goes wrong, you have to tend to it. So that's why I've put this together. And a little, let's just say, I want to preface this with Serena did a bad thing. Serena did a couple of tutorials where she did it by hand with a camera like this. It wasn't the best. Serena didn't have a manicure either, but that doesn't matter. Stop talking about myself like this. But so I thought, okay, hang on a second. Why am I not doing a mind map for you? And that's what this is. I'm using Miro, Miro.com today. So let's use this, give it a whirl, and hopefully it'll be more legible than what my handwriting was. Because let's face it, I mean, I'm a creative, and scribbles are the way that we write. So here we go. I'm going to zoom in to what the problem is. So this is going to give you some actual implementation, things that you can do right now. So let's just say you have a reputation. Let's just do it all in caps, shall we? Reputational crisis. Oh, went there. Wonderful. Using a new tool when you're live. Yeah, really smart. So there you go. You have a reputational crisis. The first thing that you want to do is you want to monitor. You absolutely should be monitoring the situation. Why, Serena? Because you need to know what people are actually saying. If you don't, then you might just be making it up in your head. You might be, let's say, assuming a lot, and you want to challenge your assumptions about lovely coffee, what your audience is thinking and feeling. And so you want to absolutely monitor it. Where do you monitor it? Oh, you want to monitor it on all of your channels. Absolutely have to be on all of your channels. You want to monitor any forums where your audience sort of talks about you, or might talk about you because they might, and any media press. Now, you could do this using software, you could do this using just your social media and the metrics that you get within that, because that should do the trick. It should do the trick. You might find that populating a table will help you. And if you have more than one person in the team, you could delegate this and get someone to populate a table for you so you can begin to capture all that intel, because it's intel, it's insight. So we're going to call this monitor. And then we're going to also, actually, let's do something like this. If I bring this node over here, no, it doesn't want to do that because it's just being orcs. Okay, so monitor. And let's just put in here in brackets insight, because you need that insight. You need to know what's being said, what are the thoughts behind it, populate it. Okay, so all of your channels, forums, media, and you want to populate it. So monitor, insight, and capture. All right. That way, you know you're not going to be missing anything. You will be aware of what's going on. So that's the first thing. Once you've done that, before you even begin to say something, I want you to remind yourself what your mission is. The reason I'm saying this is because we can end up communicating with our audience all sorts of things, all sorts of changes. Actually, I think I did a tutorial about communicating change. It's useful to remind ourselves why we're doing what we're doing, what's the plan, where we want to take this brand or this business. And so you want to remind yourself that you are still aligned to your objectives and what you're saying. Okay. Are you aligned to your objectives? Let's put a question. Are you aligned to your objectives? Um, what you also want to do is revisit any mission statements you have out there. Because when you do get to this bit over here where we communicate, let's call it comms, you're going to make sure that, what you're saying is indeed correct, on brand, and it's on script, because you're going to be creating a script as well, because you have to. So what you need to do is revisit any mission statements. If possible, I would say unpublish them. Or I would say tweak. Initially tweak, or at least have awareness of what's out there. Will this let me do a return? Oh, it doesn't. Never mind. You need to do better, Miro. Edit with AI. No thanks. I'm good. So here we go. We have revisit any mission statements, unpublish them, tweak them for awareness. Okay, so now what you've got is you've captured a whole load of insight here. And it's great because now you know what peeps are saying. Over here, you know what you're supposed to be about, because that might come into question and you might need to remind your audience that that's the case. So there's that. Now what you're going to do is you're going to write a brief. And then over here, let's put stakeholders. And then we're going to do come to my trackpad has stopped working, so I'm having to move over to my actual laptop, which is connected. This is the actual comms. That's fine. So you're going to write a brief, and then we're going to talk about stakeholders. That's a fun bit. I always like talking about stakeholders, because you get to sort of like remind yourself who are all the really important people to your brand and your business. So yay for that bit. That's going to come. So let's just do this. So this is so much better, guys, than what I'd. Okay, sorry, move on. So write a brief. What is a brief? What's the beef? What's the beef, yo? What is the beef? Why are you going in red? Oh, because it's beef. Let's just put you in black. Okay, so what is the beef? Like, what is the problem? What is the problem? Like, what are they all saying over here? This top bit. What are they saying? Like, what is the issue? Start writing it all down. That's the whole point of having all of that intel. So start drafting. Just start drafting. Like, what is the beef? What is their problem? So that's first step. First step is what's the beef? Then start to draft responses, or let's just do replies. Start to draft replies. Again, on this briefing document, start drafting replies. And this is a draft. It doesn't have to be perfect, because you're going to refine this, because you're going to find that you're a bit defensive and reactive. Not me, when I'm on my streaming channel and I'm in the comments. Actually, once or twice I have, and I've had to sort of delete a comment, or I've left it there to say, guys, this is me being reactive. But I've not had that kind of reputational crisis yet. So you're going to be, I mean, it's human nature, especially when it's your baby, it's your brand, it's human nature. You're going to, hold up, wait a minute. That's fine. You're going to want to immediately set the record straight, and you might say too much, or you might say the wrong thing. So that's why it's not a good idea to jump straight on screen. You want to prep. So when you're drafting the replies over here on this baby right here, this is where you're going to see, ooh, there you are, emotional. Emotional much? Emotional much. Because you know you are. You know you are. Let's make this another. I'm gonna play around with this because I might go back to something I used to use before, but let's just so you're gonna see if you're emotional, okay? You're gonna see if you're emotional because we get emotional, okay? So that's the part that's detecting. Then once you have awareness, because you need to get the state to a state of awareness, you're going to know what the beef is, what you'd want to say, what you're definitely not going to say. And now you have awareness of what are the key points that you need to get across. What are the key points? So let's say that you are getting cancelled or you have a reputational risk crisis, sorry, because what you did was you did not show support for a cause that is getting a great deal of attention and support from others who are within your industry. And you said nada. So now what you want to do is put your key points here. So you want to talk about, are you going to acknowledge it or are you going to double down? Are you going to say I'm remaining neutral or I believe something different? This is not a space that I want to comment on because it's not what's important to my audience, but then your audience might be saying it's important to them. You might want to pivot. You might want to own up. So depending on the stance that you're going to take, you might fess up and say, you know what, I should have done this. I didn't do this, yada, yada, yada. So that's where you're going to have your key points. Now, guys, it's the best bit. The stakeholders, all the people who are important to you, your business, your brand, collaborators, partners, people that you work with, um, your audience, like everyone. You're going to have to map this out, like map it out, much like I am. Like just be like social media followers. So it's YouTube, Twitch is different, Instagram's different, X is different. Oh, investors, clients, partners, collaborators. Once you've mapped them out, here's a question. Do they need different messages? No, not massages. Messages. Do they need different messages? Because they will. The likelihood is they will. So what you need to do then is yes or no. Yes. Yes. So tailor the key points to each of them. Remember this bit over here where we were doing key points? Right over here, key points from that early exercise of what's the beef. You want to tailor it to each of your stakeholders. No, not to beefsteak. Ha, see what I did there? So you want to tailor your points to each of them. Now you're ready. You're ready. You've got, listen, you've monitored and captured all the beef. You've reminded yourself what your mission is. And now that you know what your talking points are, when you go back to any mission statements, you'd be like, missed that bit. That's what I'm really about. Good reminder. Then you want to write a brief about what's the beef. So now you've got everything down, you've got the key points, you have a full awareness. Now you go to your stakeholders, you've mapped them, you know that they need different messages because they're all different. They come to you for different reasons. And now you're going to tailor your key points to each of them. So for instance, let me give you for instance, your Instagram followers will need your message in a caption that might be a little bit more informal, whereas your collaborators, partners, sponsors might need an email in a little bit of a formal way, and your structure of your sort of paragraphs will also be different. It'll be quite formal compared to the sort of like colloquial, informal nature of your social media caption. Now we come to the last bit of this awesome map of how to manage your reputational crisis. So we are now coming to the bit where you're actually going to communicate. So we've called it comms, and then we're going to put evaluate over here because you really do have to sort of check in, like, have you done the right thing? Have you said the right thing? Has it landed? Has it worked? All of that wonderful stuff, because Without evaluating, you don't know if your comms has actually done the trick. Okay, so here we have comms and evaluation. Now we already have a plan of what we're going to say, but do you know where you're going to say it? And this is where, drum roll please, implementation, your implementation plan. Okay, so you know what you're going to say, because remember over here, what's the beef? You know the beef. You know what the key points are. You know who your stakeholders are, and you know how you have to tailor messages. So now for the comms implementation plan, what you're going to say for each audience, have a separate document, right? Now, have I would almost say an Excel sheet where you plot all of this down so you can track. So to the shareholder, we're saying this, and then have all the sort of talking points right there, the key points there, and continue to do that for all of them, because it's really important that you have a record to remind yourself, why did I make that red? I did not want that red, but okay, my bad, let's remove it. So you got your implementation plan, and in this plan, you're going to write down, this is the strategy. The strategy is to craft separate messages for my audience. This is how I'm segmenting my audience. All of the stuff that I'm saying you could actually use in an implementation plan, and then have an Excel sheet for that implementation. Okay, so you can order it. Now you've done it. You've done it like a politician. Okay, you've done it, guys. You've done it. Okay, what's next? What's next? You're going to evaluate that baby. You're going to come back to this thing over here. Hang on a sec. Let's say monitor. And it's a cycle. Yes, it is. Because look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Hold up. Wait a minute. We come here to monitor, right? Serena, why'd you make that red? Make it black. Look at this. Wait. Are you telling me that things go in cycles? That we come right back to we're going back to the start. What's that Coldplay song? Yeah, it doesn't go like that. But you go back to the start. You're like, oh, now we're going to monitor and we're going to capture. Can I link these? Do you think I can? Yes, she did. She linked them. And there you have your plan. And then listen, the most important and crucial bit is things change. Things are always in flux, especially online opinion, especially the feedback that you're getting from a variety of stakeholders, from all the sentiment that you are tracking online. Everything is constantly in flux, which is why your strategy, your implementation plan over here will have its own map. Everything that I've covered feeds your implementation plan. Your implementation plan will need to have its own map where you're able to essentially have a living strategy and a plan that you're always going to be consulting, revisiting, reviewing, and evaluating, and then monitoring, and then it just keeps going round and round. And then what happens is, when you've monitored things, because you are just excellent, let's just go to make not me big, the plan big. When you come here and you go to your monitoring bit, you're going to get more insights. Of course you are. Of course you're going to get more insights, because the more people say and how they react, remember, on all of your channels, the forums, the media, the press, the more insight you get, the more insight you capture, and then you are able to tailor it. I very much hope that map helps you, that plan helps you for dealing with a reputational crisis. Screenshot time. Excellent. Now, a little bit about me before I go. I am Serena. I am a communications, public relations practitioner with more than 20 years experience. I'm also chartered. I'm a content creator, creative. I'm a systems thinking practitioner, and I provide strategic consulting. So there's more from me over here and on other channels. But if you want PR for your business, PR for your own discipline, maybe you're a practitioner as well, then this is a place for it. Do subscribe, like, and let me know where you're watching from, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, I forgot to say, I have a podcast called PR Talk, and I have episodes out every Tuesday. Damn it, I forgot to say that earlier. It was going so well, sort of, a little bit rushed, but there you go. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and I'll see you in a PR Talk episode, a tutorial, something like this, or some chat, but I'll definitely be back.